WDWA and Wrestle Talk Podcast family, how y'all doing tonight? Absolutely great to be here. Excited for another great show. Episode number 6. It just keeps on rolling. And no, you guys did not read wrong in the description. No, you guys do not need to try to adjust your monitors or anything. Gavin Jackson kind of looks a little different tonight.
Way better. Best he's ever looked.
So tonight is Gavin Jackson's anniversary. So we want to wish a happy anniversary to Gavin and Kelly. It's just great what they've done. And we just really want to wish them a great time tonight and everything. So tonight, beside me is the one and only, the voice of Frontline, dashing Donnie Deablo.
How are we doing tonight? Oh, I'm doing great. This is wonderful. I want one of those little cartoons like you and Gavin have up in the corner there. That would make things a little better. Maybe scratch his name out at the front. Put me up there on the intro. But I know it was kind of a last minute thing. But hey, it's great to be here. Great to be on Elevation. On this side, I'm usually just trolling through the comments, trying to stir up some stuff, So it's different being on this side.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to have you here. And, we got your other partner checking in there, Steve Netz, one of the other voices from Frontline. And, it's great to see you checking in. And Jackson was checking in there. So, thanks for tuning in. It's great to have you guys here, and we have got plenty to talk about. But, before we get into things, don't forget, the fans weigh in. Make sure you're commenting and everything, and so I can see your comments, so I can decide who's going to be in the fans weigh in tonight. Now, I know that it's a little shorter time frame than we normally have between the match and the show. So we've only had a few matches announced, but we're still going to bring a fan on. We're still going to talk about those few matches that we know of. And there may even be a few surprises tonight. Who knows? And shout out to Matt, shout out to Andrew, great to see you.
I'm guessing Matt's asking where I got that tan. I'm not too tan right now, but before it was Palm Beach. So it's kind of faded now. But if that's what we were asking, jump ahead a little bit.
Donnie, we are coming off of an absolutely huge show from Saturday night. And it was just a crazy ride. And if you missed it, make sure that you get to catch the replay on Frontline, when it's played. And let me pull up the results here.
Yeah, hot and bothered, and it lived up to it. I mean, it was from top to bottom a fantastic show. We started off hot. It stayed hot the entire time. I'm not just talking about the weather in the building. I'm, talking about the matches from start to finish. There wasn't a bad match on the card. The fans were great. Everyone was so into every match on there. And it started out super hot with the return of Ace Christian challenging Just Jay, who Just Jay had held the light heavyweight championship 316 days at that point. I think on Frontline, I actually said 314. I shorted him 2 days. He told me about it later. 316 days, Just Jay held that title, defended it, all against everybody. He defended against Samoa at least 3 times. We saw him defended against Marvoit, who was a mystery opponent. Took out Ace Christian twice, actually, in one day. Christian came out to make a save. He got laid out with the belt in the ring. Then outside, he was trying to get the match set up. And again, he got waylaid. He was watching his phone, wasn't watching where Just Jay is. So Jay snuck up and got him. It cost him a couple matches. He was supposed to be in the next match with Amara, where Amara actually filled in. But Christian came out and said he was going to take the belt from Just Jay. Just Jay still felt disrespected, and I feel like something Jay said on the show before, when you had Jay on here, or even last year when he was before Berkeley Mania, when he went into that 10-man match and was chasing Samuel Thompson, who at the time was the longest reigning light heavyweight champ. You know, maybe the length of the title reign was weighing in on him. And not to take anything away from Christian, I can't wait for that match to come out on Frontline. It was just electric from start to finish. Christian, you know, he put up a fight, and I didn't know the kid had it. And, you know, I mean, you can say it, and new light heavyweight champion, Ace Christian. What'd you think of that match, Hoss?
Oh, I tell you, that match was absolutely full of action. And, you know, it was an absolute surprise. Since Just Jay has had this brand new attitude, he has been just hard to stop. And, you know, honestly, that night, you know, last time when the fans weigh in, I had picked Just Jay, you know, just because of this new attitude he had in this way. So, you know, I did pick Just Jay on that one. And as a matter of fact, you know, I do know that Ace, he watched the show, and he gave me a little flack for not picking him. And, but he pulled it out, and I, I'm proud of him, you know, for pulling it out. And it was an awesome, awesome match. And I know Jay is just beside himself without that title. You know, he kept walking around talking about how he was in mourning for his title. And it's just, man, it was one heck of a match. And congratulations to Ace Christian for winning that championship.
And then the next match that came up was your misused world tag team champions. You heard it right. I said your misused world tag team champions, not your WDWA tag team champions. They're that too. But there is no more WDWA tag championships. It's now the misused world tag team championships. I love the rebranding they did on them. Those belts have never looked better. You know, coming off a big win, they just won those belts last show against Black Wall Street. And then they're forced to defend them. The same night, ironically, we're picking another number one contender. So they're forced to defend it. They get to pick their opponents. They pick the Burkharts. And what'd you think about that match? Our tag champs pulled it out again.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, I do have to hand it to the Burkharts, though. The Burkharts, you know, they put up more of a fight. I mean, I know that they beat them very quickly last time they were in the ring with them. And, you know, that's why Misused picked them, because, you know, they wanted to show that, you know, that was just a fluke, and it wasn't going to happen again. And so, you know, they picked them to go against them. And the Burkharts really put up more of a fight than what I truly expected them to. You know, I expected that match to be very easily won by Misused, because I knew they were going to be paying attention this time. And, you know, they weren't going to let what happened last time happen again. Uh, but, you know, the Burkharts, they put up one heck of a fight. And, you know, I do have to disagree on the belts, though. You know, the fact that they have defaced the WDWA Tag Team Championships and, you know, dropped them in that barrel and burned them, you know, that's just that's disrespectful to the ownership of WDWA and disrespectful to the fans that, have supported that championship throughout this whole thing. And it's just, I think it was absolutely disrespectful of them to do that. So,
well, I love the new belts. I love the misused belts. So I'm not going to lie about that. As far as disrespect, I think really what they were doing, maybe they meant it as a bit of disrespect. Again, it's misused. It's their world. They can take you out of it. But I think it was more erasing the legacy of everybody. They're not the next WDWA tag champs. They're the new and only people that have held the misused tag team championship. So they're basically, rewriting history and rewriting their history. It's kind of the way I looked at it. But
well, I mean, if you want to use another title, at least have it approved first, or at least don't destroy the old ones. But it is, if you
misuse
didn't
does
see
what
the
misuse
promo,
does.
if you didn't see the promo, go back and check it out. Where Misuse actually dropped the titles into a burning barrel, and
On the train tracks.
yeah, on the train tracks. So
yeah. I'm sure that barrel probably didn't move after it was set on fire.
No, those titles probably ended up under a train somewhere, I'm sure. But that, like you said, misused is who they are. And I've said many a times, misused is not about winning or losing. Misused is about punishing you for coming into their world and and as you said, doing what they want to do. And what they want to do is what's going to happen. And it's definitely going to be something to see where misuse goes from here, and we're going to talk about it later, their next opponents and
right.
everything. But it's definitely going to be an interesting thing.
It is, being thrown into, right after winning the titles. Again, we'll get to who they're facing, at Too Hot to Handle a little bit later. That was announced actually today. But they come off of winning the titles. Immediately they have to defend. They pick the Burkharts, and now immediately, again, next show, they're having to defend again against the team that won our number one contendership. And we're going to go over that in just a minute. We got a couple matches in between that on the card, as you can see it up there. Tommy Vex and Sean Phoenix. Now, I was kind of thrown off on this match because Tommy had really been picking up some momentum. The fans were really getting behind Tommy Vex. I don't know why. You didn't know why. We talked about it. We did, you were on commentary with me one of those shows. We're like, why are they chanting for Tommy? Steve and I talked about it on another show. Why are they cheering for Tommy? I didn't get it. They hated the guy. It's always wash your hair, don't take your shirt off. All the junk that they give Tommy all the time. And all of a sudden, just like that, overnight, they're cheering for Tommy. So,
yeah, it's absolutely nuts the way people have gotten. I mean, I shouldn't say it's nuts, but the way people have gotten behind Tommy Vex. And most of the time something happens that gets the people behind them. But this time they're just jumping on the Tommy Vex train, and it's crazy. And I mean, I don't know what happened to get them to do that, other than I am going to admit Tommy Vex is one heck of a performer in that ring. He's one heck of an athlete, and other than that, I can't tell you what it is that people jumped on, but they're on something when it comes to Tommy.
And I see the comments here. Eddie was like, we did. Yeah, maybe not you, Eddie, but a lot of people were yelling, chanting, cheering for Tommy Vex for a couple shows. Not sure why, but they were. You were at those shows, I'm sure. I know you were at those shows, actually. I talked to you during those shows. So yeah, Sean Phoenix. We've talked about what character the guy has, what heart he has, but he just has not been able to get it done. 5 times now. That 5 times in a row, this man is coming to WDWA, and regardless of who he's facing, he's ended up coming up short just a little bit. And this time, I don't know if something got in his head, if he was thinking about that, if he was keeping score on his own, because he did not look like himself when he was getting up on those ropes. He took way too much time. It's like he forgot what he was doing. He wasn't even trying to talk to the fans or anything. It's like he got up there and something slipped his mind, and he's like, what am I doing up here? Did I remember to turn the stove off? Keys? No. Oh yeah, I'm going to jump on this guy. And by that point, obviously it was way too late. And, 1, 2, 3, the match is over. But, Sean, I guess it's back to the drawing board. I don't know what's going on with you, buddy, but 5 losses in a row. Got to be tough. And where do you think Sean goes from here? You saw him at the end of the match. He, looked like somebody shot his dog or something.
Yeah, he just, I don't know if something had him distracted, before he got in the ring and he forgot to leave it at the door, or, like Steve said, maybe he was in his own head, I don't know. I just know that's not the Sean Phoenix we're used to. It just isn't. And especially being on a losing streak the way that he is, that's just not Sean Phoenix. And I can't see him staying on this losing streak. I really can't. He's got to figure out how to turn it around. And I know that he can. I know he'll figure out what he needs to do to win, and he'll get all the pieces in place, and he will come back from this. But just how long is it going to take? And like you say, where does he go from here? I mean, all these losses has to be playing a toll on him. It's shocking, absolutely shocking to see.
It is. And Matt's comment on here, maybe instead of lighting his hand on fire, he needs to light his ass on fire and try to win. So there we go. There's the quote.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a thought. I mean, it's back to the drawing board. That's something new, right? Old stuff's not working. Got to figure out something new. But going right on into the next match, and tick, 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 tick. Ranch Hand Carlson and Bo Ross. And there was a lot of smack talk leading up to this match. Ranch Hand telling Bo, Bo's saying, like, hey, you're a Walmart cowboy. Ranch Hand's like, you're not a real cowboy. You come up this short every time. Back and forth, back and forth. Ranch Hand, he's tough as nails. He another one of those guys that does what he wants and then tells you about it while he's doing it. So I don't know if maybe it makes things worse on you if you're in the ring with Ranch Hand, because he won't shut up while he's beating the hell out of you. Either whether he's yelling at the fans or his opponent. But when he comes through and he does that tick, 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 that's he's telling us it's ass kicking time, and I'm not getting paid by the hour, so my clock's ticking. And he came out there and really took it to Bo. The end of the match was bit off, I guess you can say. To be right in front of the ref and still get away with what you got away with. I mean, I get it, obviously, and I'm not saying there's 0% chance that obviously Danica saw it. She could, she was backed into the corner. They were backed on top of her. She didn't see what went down. We all saw what went down, but Ranch Hand does it. He picked up the win.
Yeah, Ranch Hand, the Walmart cowboy. I have called him that ever since the first time I saw him. Walmart cowboy, and he just he keeps coming out on top somehow. And he keeps getting closer and closer, and now he seems to be a Thorne and Cisco's side. So it's
Right.
going to be interesting to see how high Ranch Hand Carlson can go, because I think, despite the hard time I give him, I think he can go a long ways, and I think he's going to be somebody to keep an eye on for sure.
For sure. And we know he's focused on Cisco. He's focused on that Mid-Atlantic Championship. Still, he believes he should have won it before. And with Bo, maybe if Bo would have done some flips, like he was, Ranch Hand. I never in my life thought I would see Ranch Hand Carlson do any flippy stuff. Yeah, I said flippy stuff again. Eddie will probably talk. He was looking at me when I said it during the broadcast before, like, yeah, flippy stuff. He's doing flippy stuff. What do you want to say? But yeah, Ranch Hand, I never thought I would see him be able to pull stuff like that off. But he did. Bo didn't want to play that game, so maybe that's why things kind of ended the way they did. If he would have entertained Ranch Hand with a couple backflips, things might have went a little different. Wouldn't have pissed Ranch Hand off so much.
Well, and definitely Danica had not seen what went on, because Danica as well as I do and everybody else. Had she seen that, she would have disqualified him right out.
Right.
With that would not even have been warned. It would have just been, you're done. And
again, it comes down to position. There's no way she's, with her size and the size of Bo and Ranch Hand right on top of you, you're trying to still protect yourself in that corner. There's absolutely no way she could have seen what went on. That's why I'm like, for it to be right in front of you and still not be able to see it, that's just, that's one of those crazy things that sometimes happens, and it did happen. And Ranch Hand, I don't want to say stole one, but he definitely got away with that one.
Yeah, he did. And but like I say, I can see him going places. I really do. Despite the hard time that I give him, I can really see him going places here. But he keeps messing with Cisco. He might be barking up the wrong tree. I don't know.
Maybe. And I mean, we could go into the next match. I guess it was the number one contendership. So 4 teams in an elimination style tag team match. 4 teams. We had Clay and Zakar. We had Sexy and Blessed, Brothers Gray, and the new mercenaries for JTR, the Helm. And the Helm came out on fire. They came out. They were beating everybody down. They were monopolizing the time in the ring. They were making quick tags. They were double teamed, and they came after everybody, and they were ruling the roost there for the longest time. But in these matches, all it takes is just a second, and things can change. And that's what happened once the Brothers Gray got in, once Sexy and Blessed got in, and the Helm. They were actually, I think the Helm was the first team eliminated. But that was another great match. There was so much going on. That's one of those where it and from calling stuff with me on Frontline, when there's that many bodies in the ring, especially that many big bodies in the ring, it gets really hard to see stuff. And then you've got, not to mention people on the outside, you had Sam Adams was out there with the Syndicate, of course, Brothers Gray. You had JTR out there with the Helm. Sexy and Blessed was on their own. Clay and Zakar was on their own. But, great match. The Brothers Gray always come out and put on a great show. And my pick was, honestly, I was thinking the Brothers Gray, but then seeing Chulo and Y Keys, and Keys has been around. Keys hadn't been anywhere. It's been a little while since we've seen Cholo Montana, but there was no rust on that team at all. Like, I thought maybe there'd be some kind of friction. We know there's friction elsewhere and Supremacy right now, but they came out and they did not miss a beat. Keys was on fire. Chulo was on fire. It was, I had to change it kind of right then. I was like, all right, well, they're looking like they always have, and they're multi-time tag champs as well. They held the tag belts for a long time before finally dropping it to Black Wall Street. So I was like, well, maybe I'll change my pick. I'm glad I didn't actually, put it out there who I thought was going to win before. But
Yeah, and I mean, just like Matt's pointing out, one of the biggest surprises is that the helm was out so quickly, and them being the first team out, and they are winless in WDWA,
shocking.
and that is absolutely a shock. But you know, that's just another one of those acquisitions that JTR has had that some of them just haven't panned out, and you got to look at this one and wonder, is this one going to pan out for JTR? Because so far, I don't think it. I don't think it's panning out for him so far. And it's surprising though, because they can be quite the force to be reckoned with, and it, that they are going to, they're going to be back. They are going to be upset that they are winless, and they're going to want to prove that they are the force to be reckoned with that we know they can be. And it's going to be quite interesting when they do. But and you mentioned sexy and blessed, and you mentioned supremacy, but that's still a whole question there. Is
Mm-hmm.
there still a supremacy? What has become of supremacy, and what just what's going on in everything there? That's still an unanswered question that you still got to wonder and still have to look at,
Right.
because
I mean, it looks like the Stigma Males may be back together. We saw them work together, in the Battle Royal show.
well, and you haven't seen Steve since then.
No, but you haven't seen Austin in a few shows. And Austin, of course, being the Holy Grail winner, so he can cash that in on any title he wants. So I think as far as the core three, I think I wouldn't have any reason to believe Austin, Chulo, and White Keys that there's any issues amongst the three of them. I think that part of supremacy is fine. Maybe do they need to add a fourth member again? Maybe. I honestly don't see Zakar coming back. Don't see Fuerte coming back. But that's not even the only. There's something happening seemingly with all the factions that we have right now. Money and Power, you look at them too. And JTR, Steve and I pointed it out a couple shows ago on Frontline, and I guess JTR was watching, stopped the video, made some circles and everything around it. The match he had against Jordan Evans, where he got, unceremoniously choked out with his own belt in the middle of the ring, blacked out. Shame on Jordan Evans for having to resort to that, but JTR is a good guy, but he's just
that it was a belt buckle on a pole match. That belt was legal. He could do whatever he wanted with it, and if choking him out is what he wanted to do, how many times has he beat Jordan with that belt or smacked him in the head with the belt buckle? I can't exactly blame Jordan, and you can only take so much. And since it was legal, hey, but watching Jason Curtis and CEO, watching the two of them just kind of look like they were going to try to get through the ropes or something, but just stand there.
There you go.
That just, because you could tell, I mean, there was nothing holding them back.
Nothing but air and opportunity.
And as much as, you saw Jason Curtis kind of bent over and stick his head through the rope, like, okay, yeah, I'm going to make it look like I'm coming through. And, and JTR has full right to be upset over that. I don't agree with everything with JTR, but when you've got guys like that are supposed to have your back, I mean, even though, yes, the belt, like I've already pointed out, the belt was legal. He was doing nothing
Yeah.
wrong when he did that, but those guys are supposed to have your back, and to stand
Yeah.
there and watch, even if it is legal, watching somebody choke him out with the belt, jump in, you know, try to help that man out before he kills him.
Yeah. And again, everybody saw it. There was nothing between them but air and opportunity. And that air could have disappeared really quick. But two guys standing there and supposed to have your back. And JTR came over and he talked to Steve and I about it, even at this show, about maybe looking for some extra help. I mean, Jason Curtis was on at this show. For the most part, there was a couple of situations where, I thought he might have been in, a better spot to kind of protect JTR and money and power at certain times. But, he did a lot better this show, it seems like. But JTR always looking to invest, always looking to add on. And as far as going back to the tag team match with the Helm, I don't think he's going to let him keep losing like that. He's not going to keep spending money to bring these guys in if they're not going to be able to get it done. And like you said, I don't know why they've not been able to get it done. They're a fantastic team. They're quick. They're powerful. They're great tag technicians, but for whatever reason, thus far, they haven't been able to get one over. And that kind of brings up an announcement for our next show. It was named today our number one contenders and the winners of this tag match we're talking about right now. Clay Jacobs and Zakar Shaw became the number one contenders to the Misused World Tag Championships. They're going to be facing Misused next show.
Yeah, that, that's going to be a heck of a match. It really is, because, there is a lot of rage and aggression that, that Zakar has and Clay has against Misused right now. And, when it comes down to it, when they get their hands on them, I don't know what they're going to do. Now, of course, they've been in the ring with them as a tag team before, and they came up on the short end of the stick. But, you've got Clay, who is still furious over that first blood match
Blood
where,
first.
but it was fake blood. It was
Doesn't,
not real
it
blood.
doesn't matter. Once the bell rang and Sean Cannon hightailed it out of there, it's too late at that point. You go back and watch all the video you want. There's no reversal on that.
I mean, it's just, he is absolutely furious over that. And you've got Zakar, who is coming off of a win against him, in a blindfold match. He couldn't even see where they were and won. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting match, to say the least. And that match is really going to be a tough one to pick.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we can get back into the next show a little later after we're done kind of running through the card for this one and all that, go through and maybe make some picks, do the fans
Well, like I said, we're going to bring a fan on, and we'll definitely talk about the few matches that we do know about. And it's, the matches we do know about are going to be pretty good matches. So,
and I see Keo Vandu over there in the comments. I see Sean Carlson. Of course, Sean comes in like a few minutes after we finish talking about Ranch Hand Carlson. So you missed it, buddy. Rewind. Go back and watch it. You can catch up. But next match on there.
If you're about to fall asleep, Sean, I'm sure that you can get some No-Dos or something from the pharmacy at Walmart.
Right. No dose. All right. This next match I know you were really interested in. Our Mid-Atlantic champion, Cisco, took on Mr. Good Luck, Sam Adams. And at the end of that match, we also had at the end of that match, we have a new all-Atlantic champion. We still have, Cisco's still the Mid-Atlantic champion. Don't get me wrong. Disqualification. Oh, well, here, we can talk about Ranchan again right here. Ranchan Carlson comes out of nowhere. Doesn't give her customary warning, tick, tick, tick. Nobody knew he was on the clock until it was too late. And then he had already laid out Cisco outside the ring, beat him down in front of everybody. Then he goes up and tells tick, 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 hey, it's ass kicking time. Yeah, well, you were on the clock for, a good 2-3 minutes before that. That's why dude's laid out on the floor now. And we get a DQ. But Sam Adams, came out of there with a belt still. Sam Adams is the All-Atlantic champion. I cannot be prouder of Sam Adams. I know it's a dream come true. I've seen it all over social media. The fans are blowing up. They're embracing that Sam Adams has his 1.5 pounds of gold.
There is no such thing as the All-Atlantic champion. I don't care what Sam Adams says. Sam Adams was knocked loopy. And the championship he is holding says FWWC Hardcore Champion. That is my championship.
I think I know a couple dudes who could touch that belt up for him if he really wanted it to say Mid-Atlantic champion. He just handed over there to Jimmy. Jimmy can take care of that for you.
That is my championship. That is not a WDWA sanctioned championship. That's not a championship. I didn't tell him, here, use my championship. I didn't give that to him. He stole it off of my table where, I'm there with Wrestle Talk and, I'm talking up Wrestle Talk and he steals my title. That is my belt.
What do they say about possession? Possession's what, like 9/10 of the law, something like that. I mean, there's some judges in town there, right? You can call that Nick Colvin guy. Maybe he can get that belt back for you, but
and yes, I've been having people hit me up. Does he still have your title? Did he really steal your belt? Do you see it here anywhere? Don't I normally have it on camera when I'm here? I do not have my title. He has taken my title from me. And I've complained to Gavin. I've talked to Gavin. Most people saw that I got up and I went after him in the back to try to find my title and get my title.
Oh, he was gone by then. He was way gone.
Well, no, at that point he was still there because it was right after he took it. But when I went in the back, I was told, no. You can't touch him. You can't. I'm like, but he stole my property. I still did not get it back. I came out empty-handed. At the end of the night, he came out flaunting what he's calling the All-Atlantic Championship. No, that's my title. But, they still would not let me go get my title back from him because, they didn't want a fight or anything. And
we put that out at the start of the night. Luke McCarron says at every show, don't touch the wrestlers, don't get in the ring, don't try this at home, all that other good stuff. That's what that whole disclaimer's for. So yeah, don't go in the back, obviously, and try to fight Mr. Good Luck Sam Adams, because especially not with, no, that's wrong. That is so wrong. Especially not with the syndicate.
Yeah,
so that's going to be.
I will get it back. I don't know how yet. Gavin has promised me something will happen. I just don't know when, and I don't know what, but I will get that belt back somehow, some way.
What happens if Sam comes out in a match and everything, where puts his Mid-Atlantic Championship out on the line, and then, maybe he loses it, but then Austin Kingsley cashes in the Holy Grail and he comes out and takes the Mid-Atlantic title, or the All-Atlantic title, sorry, and runs off with it. Then where are we at?
That title is not up for cash-in. It is not a WDWA sanctioned title.
Sam made it one. So the Mid-Atlantic champ, is still Cisco. Ranch Hand's hot on his trail though, and I know that's going to be another great match when it does happen, when it finally does happen again. Ranch Hand's out for gold. Cisco, after what he went through, I didn't even see Cisco the rest of the night after that. Once he got beat down, I tried to go back and check on him. I don't know what happened after that, but I wasn't able to find him. Hopefully he's doing all right after that beat down, but still.
With what happened in the next match, it is very hard to tell what happened to Cisco when he went in the back. Not that Cisco had anything to do with what happened in the next match, but as scary as that was,
it was a night full of surprises and weird stuff.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into that next match and what happened there.
Right. I mean, I've said it so many times. Steve said it. You've said it as well. A lot of times at the end of the night, especially on commentary, I feel like we end up with more questions than we actually have answers. And this whole match was it didn't start out that way. I'm like, all right, it's Money and Power. We got, JTR is out here, Jason Curtis is out here, and our feral monster champion, AK Bane, is here defending against Paperman Chuck Lennox. So that's all I thought we were going to have. We were going to have a fight. Obviously, I mean, I don't know how anybody can take anything away from AK Bane. The man is a machine. He's a monster. He's scary, super scary. But then what happened during the match, was scary as well. Like we didn't know what was going on. Bane's music stops on his way to the ring. So Bane just stops in his tracks. Like I thought, okay, well, or Christy or a sound girl, she messed up. The music stopped playing. Something happened. And then we get that creepy mask thing on the TV and the Hell Follows With Me and all that. And it's silence for a few minutes because everybody, like Bane, JTR, Steve, myself, I guess everybody in the audience, we're all trying to figure out what's going on. Who is this? Why is it playing now? Obviously, they're after JTR or AK or maybe both of them. Who is this? What is it? What's going on? Is it going to continue?
You kept hearing a clacking noise too.
Yeah. Somewhere towards the middle of the match, Bane's whipping up on Chuck Lennox. Lennox was putting up the valiant fight, putting up the good fight, but then it happened again. Creepy video again. And all that jazz. And then I think it happened actually 3 times during the match. And then, Bane ends up hitting the Bane bomb. 1, 2, 3. It's over. As he's celebrating, we get, again, music stops. The video comes on. But this time we actually see something or somebody come through the curtain. And I had to watch the video back. We heard the clacking. We saw the stun gun, cattle prod, whatever it was in his hands, shooting sparks of electricity. The creepy mask. And I did not, at the time where we were at, see the machete. That makes it even scarier. So you're going to stun someone and decapitate him at the same time. Maybe. I mean, we don't even know who this guy is. I know some fans said they had some ideas on who it is, and I would love to hear that. Because at this point, this is insane. And is he after JTR? Is he after AK? Is he after all of them?
Well, if you saw the promo, I mean, I doesn't really say who he's after, but JTR put out a video where he was, he's talking to somebody on the phone, and the damn mask is behind him in his own house.
Yeah. How creepy is that?
It seems to be following JTR, and when he came through that curtain with a machete in one hand and clacking a taser in the other, and that was just, it's crazy. I mean, damn, Jason Voorhees showed up,
Right.
but,
And I'm telling you, if I would have seen both the taser and the machete, those doors behind Steve and I were open. I could have been gone. I'd have been out in my car. I would have been on 81 before he ever got two more steps out that curtain. I wouldn't have been sticking around to figure out, what his intentions were, who he was after at that point. Like, if he starts moving, I'm gone.
And Sheila says it wasn't her because she was just sitting there. But Sheila, I will admit I've seen you get quite fierce sometimes, but no, this man was scarier than anything I've ever seen you even attempt to do.
Big dude too,
It's
tall. He was taller than I am.
and yeah, that's just I don't know. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know, where he came from. I've heard people make guesses. I don't know if they're right or not, but wow, it's just this guy is definitely not someone I'd want to mess with. And I saw where Steve said something about there it is. Yeah, he said the mystery man has no idea what kind of monster AK is, but and I admit AK can be a scary monster himself, but when it comes to this man carrying a machete, hey, I don't think even AK can win against a machete,
A machete and a taser. I think I'm putting money on the other monster at that point. I mean, I hate to do it, but I think you can at least carve up a feral monster with a machete.
Yeah, so I mean that was absolutely nuts. When
Jackson has a good point here too. He said we don't know what kind of monster that is, Steve, and he's right. We don't know who it is, what it is. We have no idea. We know it has a mask. We know it evidently went to JTR's house and left the mask. We know it has a machete and a taser.
Well, and we don't know that he left the mask. Was he still around? Who knows?
I don't know.
He could have been.
I'm guessing not. I would hope not. I know. I come to think of it, I don't think I've talked to JTR, since I saw that video. So maybe I should have given him a call before the show, made sure he was all right. I feel like a bad friend at this point.
It's just, it was nuts, but I guess questions will eventually get answered. It seems like you said a minute ago, every single show, it seems we come out with more and more questions, and we're getting more questions than we are answers on everything.
For sure. And even leading up, we have a couple shows left before Berkeley Mania kicks off. We've got Too Hot to Handle coming up on the 26th. We have Antebellum. I think that's the last two before Berkeley Mania, if I'm right. There might be one more in there.
Yeah, I think I know Berkeley Mania is the end of August, so I know we have Antebellum.
Too Hot to Handle coming up. Then we have Antebellum the middle of August. So yeah, 2 shows, and then we're at Berkeley Mania. It's kind of flown by. It's been a crazy year.
And just before we get to this last match here, since we're mentioning Berkeley Mania, don't forget that this year for the first time there's a battle royal at Berkeley Mania, and that on the screen right there is the trophy that the person who wins that battle royal is gonna win, the first ever Berkeley Mania battle royal.
I want that trophy.
Well, hey, maybe that's how I'll get my title back. Maybe I'll run in and throw Sam out of the Rumble if he's in it.
Right. We
You
can
know,
work out
who
something
knows?
as to who takes the trophy. Yeah, I heard it's really nice trophy. Isn't it like 6 feet tall or something like that? Some giant trophy.
But yeah, so then we got to the main event, and an absolute great main event, and our special guests of the night, you know, EY, Eric Young, he had already given a seminar where, all the young guys got to sit underneath the learning tree and learn from the great Eric Young. Um, and, a lot of fans had already gotten to come up and meet Eric Young, and they had gotten to meet Doc Gallows and get pictures with both of them. And it had just been an absolute great night. And then we get this main event: Doc Gallows and Eric Young versus Lineage. Great, great match. What?
Absolutely, absolutely fabulous match. And like you said, EY had put on a seminar. A lot of guys were at that seminar. I think we both came in kind of towards the tail end of it. And they had a pretty full house. With everybody that was sitting under the learning tree, like you said. And EY was just great. So was Gallows and everything all night. Real great guys to talk to. But they got in there against the father and son team of Lineage. Got Shane and Gavin Miller. It was that match. There was so many high points in that match. We saw new stuff. We saw lots of classic Shane Malice moves, and Gavin put a beating for a while on EY, and then they turned it around, and he got stuck in there with Big Dog Gallows for the longest amount of time, and he was getting beat down. And the match just it went back and forth all night. Fabulous match. Both teams, for the most part, they tried to really control the ring, and that's why these guys got isolated in there and ended up taking a lot more punishment, because they both teams know how to be teams. Both guys know how to wrestle tag wrestling. I mean, it's EY and Dog Gallows, and then you got a father and son team, with one of the most highly decorated guys that's ever been in WDWA.
Exactly. And it was a great match, and of course, EY and Doc, they came out with the win on this. And but the the most thing of this match, you know, they put on one hell of a match for the fans. And just when you thought you couldn't ask for any more, you know, Gallows, after the match, calling Gavin Miller back out there to the ring and addressing the crowd and giving Gavin Miller, his flowers, and letting everybody know that at least for a while, this will be Gavin's last match here at WDWA, because Gavin is shipping off to the United States Army. And, he made a great speech, and it was just a very class act thing to do. And I really, my hat's off to Gallows for the speech there at the end that he gave, and then ending with giving Gavin Miller and Shane Malice the time in the ring as father and son to kind of close out the night. That was, you know, it almost brings a tear to your eye
Right.
to see what happened there. And just an absolute class act. And,
For
we
sure.
wish the absolute best to Gavin as he does ship off. And our thoughts and prayers are going to be with him as he's in the army, through the basic training and wherever he goes after that.
Right.
And just absolute great night, and you couldn't ask for a better ending. You really couldn't.
No, and he's going down to Fort Jackson. I don't. I think they still call it Fort Jackson. Fort Jackson, or maybe they changed the name. I think they changed it and then changed it back or whatever. But South Carolina in July, August is not going to be fun by any means. So especially going through training like that, and I guess his AIT, his follow up school is probably going to be Jackson as well. It's usually the way they do it, I think. So
But
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it was definitely a touching moment, and again, class act. EY and Doc, they didn't have to do that, but that's just the kind of guys they are. They shouted out, a couple trainers and everything from Leslie Leatherman was there and attendance as well, so they gave them a shout out. Some other guys, but the whole show was great moments, great night. But that end of the night really kind of tugged on the heartstrings. And it's like, man, that's a special moment, and for all of us to be able to share that special moment with, Shane and Gavin, I think that was one of the great highlights of the night there.
Yeah, no matter whether you like Shane, I mean, because we all know Shane is a heel in wrestling, and not to go too far behind the curtain or break the wall down, but
But
it is what it is. He is a heel, and so he does draw that heat from the crowd, but Shane is one hell of a wrestler, and you gotta take your hat off to Shane. You gotta take your hat off to, you know, the training that Gavin has had, the way he's picked up, and he's just a chip off the block. And if you didn't to sit there and see that moment between father and son, and to watch that whole thing, if you didn't feel some type of emotion, you better check your pulse, or you're just not, you have no feelings. It's just that simple.
yeah, exactly.
And it was just awesome. And like I say, the whole night was great. And if you missed any of it, be sure to tune in to Frontline and catch up on that, because you don't want to miss anything.
No,
And when you watch Frontline, you'll get to see my title get stolen.
right. Eventually, I don't know when that episode's going to air, but there's actually 2 front lines coming on this week. So there's the Thursday episode, and I should have, I guess, found out who was going to be shown on the Thursday show. And one probably told me, and I forgot already, but I know Saturday there's a special edition coming up. It's going to feature the Rumble match in its entirety. So that's a special Saturday. I'm guessing it's going to be 5:30 when everyone puts it out there. But again, watch Frontline on YouTube, wildpatriot.com.
So let's
Check it out.
I'm gonna roll a little thing here real quick for Frontline. So be sure to check out Frontline. As he said, every Thursday night, and you said it was Saturday he was going to drop another
Yeah,
episode?
special one this Saturday, hosted by some mystery host, I think this time. But yeah, it's going to be the Royal in its entirety will be shown on a special edition Frontline coming on this Saturday. There's the link. Steve just posted it up there. Wild Patriot 22, YouTube.com.
So be sure to check that out. Anything you miss, you can catch up on there. And one thing you'll be able to go back and catch up on, and we've been talking a lot about money and power.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about money and power and everything that's happened with money and power throughout when they started, you can't help but talk about our guest tonight. And, he has been waiting patiently backstage. So I want to go ahead and get him in here, and get his thoughts and everything. And maybe even we might have a bit of breaking news. We'll see what happens.
Maybe.
But let's get the one and only Daniel Alexander Dabrowski, Dad.
What's up, fellas? How we doing?
All right, how you doing?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. Like that shirt, Donnie.
Oh yeah, figured you would.
It's great to have you here, and thanks for being with us tonight. So, you have had a lot of dealings with money and power since it all started, and other than he claims he's trying to get rid of the old people like you. Not that I'm calling you old, mind you. Don't come after me.
It's all like.
But
did you see what he did to those kids in the Battle Royal? You might want to talk to him a little nicer right now.
That's what JTR had been saying. When everything started. So what is it with JTR that he has issues with you? What is it?
I wish I had an exact answer for you. I don't know if you guys remember. Almost 2 years ago now, I won a turkey brawl, and with that turkey brawl came a title shot. And so Unc and I decided, hey, whoever wins this, if it happens to be one of us, we're going to use this title shot to go after the tag team titles. Obviously, that would be the best thing for us to do as a team. So in that turkey brawl, I ended up winning the whole thing. And Justin, at the time, just a referee, refused to raise my hand. I don't know what happened during that. I didn't say a word to Justin. I guess maybe he just didn't like me that day, woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And then it just kept going on from there. Not long after that, we decided to cash in our title shot, and they cost us those tag titles. He showed up, and if I remember correctly, that's when AK and Cash came along with him. Because as you guys probably already know, Justin's not capable of doing much by himself without a whole lot of muscle and help. And I've been preaching to these guys for a long time that money's great. Having a lot of money, I'm sure, is great. I don't know what that feels like. But eventually that money's going to run out. And I was listening to you guys talk a little bit ago about, there's some dissension in money and power. They got plenty of power. Trust me. I feel it. I was on the bench for 4 months with a jacked up knee because of the amount of torture I've been through with AK Bane, with Cash. They put me through the ringer. They've made me, work harder to continue my craft. But at the same time, I'm starting to wonder if money's gone, if it's starting to dry up a little bit.
I mean, you brought up the history. I didn't know it had went back 2 years, but I know real well that it's went back over a year. He put your daughter, they put kid through a table. Right. They turned Unc against you, your partner, and you guys had that, false count anywhere weapons match all up and down the fairgrounds, fighting each other, ripping each other apart. And ultimately Unc retired after that match. He said if he didn't, the loser, whoever lost that match, had to retire. And still, it's still not over between you and money and power. Every time you come back, you guys like make a beeline right for each other every time. Like what do you see as maybe being the end? What's going to have to happen to end all this between you and JTR and Money and Power?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, all props to AK Bane for being the heavyweight champion. He's earned it. I don't like him. He put my daughter through a door. I've pinned AK twice in the last year. I'm not saying right now I want a title shot with AK Bane. I know DeMarcus won the Rumble. If I wanted a shot with AK Bane, I should have won that Rumble. I didn't. So right now it's DeMarcus's time to go after AK Bane. And I wish DeMarcus the best of luck. If anybody can take down AK Bane, it's DeMarcus Kane. They're two of the strongest, most athletic, just massive men I've ever been in a ring with. So part of me still wants a piece of AK Bane eventually. And I know you got to be careful what you wish for. I've been in this business 12 years. Pain is something I've become comfortable with. I don't like it. Nobody likes it. But when it comes to Justin, I want my hands on Justin. He was a referee. I don't think he was a very good referee. We have better options. And for whatever reason, he stuck around, and maybe that was part of it. He just knew he wasn't a good referee, so he decided to pick on me to make a name for himself, and it's worked. It's a good business model. If you want to ride my coattails, I'm all for it. But there's going to be some payback, some retribution for that, and eventually, I'm going to get my hands on Justin. It's happened before, and we'll go back just to February. Justin's very, very lucky that I dislocated my knee. Had I not dislocated my knee and completely destroyed that thing, it was Kid and I versus Justin. And I don't know about you guys, but that match didn't have a time limit, and I was planning on taking my time. So I unfortunately for us, that opportunity left. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I know Gavin said I've got a couple matches that are on my contract that I have to fulfill between now and what I want, what I've asked for. But it's not really up to me. I can't say, hey, I want this match now. I could ask for it nicely, and it's up to Gavin at the end of the day. But I know Gavin knows that I think that's what the World Domination Wrestling Alliance fans want. He knows that's what I want. There's only one person that doesn't want it, and it's Justin.
Well,
I don't know. There may be a couple other people that don't want that. There seems to be a long line forming of guys that want to get their hands on JTR. Now, Jordan might have got it out of his system because he finally did. But whatever that monster, whatever that thing is we just saw this last week, obviously wants to be Justin as well.
Which is funny because you mentioned that you want a piece of AK Bane. And, well, you weren't at the last show, but this thing came through the curtain, a scary, scary looking thing. And he had a taser in one hand and a machete in the other. So if he gets a hold of AK Bane, a piece might be all you get of him.
That's very true. And I don't feel bad for AK because this is exactly what happened to me in a different timeline. But it's really, really hard to succeed when there's a constant distraction, when you got to constantly look over your shoulder. And as a professional wrestler, you have to be able to do that. That's one of those skills that if you don't have, you can be the biggest person in the world, you can be the strongest, most athletic. But if you don't have the ability to look over your own shoulder and depend on nobody but yourself, and you're depending on Justin and Jason Curtis and all these other guys to watch your back. And I also saw some clips about that too. Those guys didn't do a great job of helping out the last few times Justin's been involved in the WDWA. So I've learned very quickly, especially after my own brother turned his back on me, there's only one person I'm depending on, and that's myself. So whoever this is that's coming after AK, good luck to you. I'm glad you brought some things with you to help out. But, AK is going to have a hard time because he's already got enough on his plate. If I had DeMarcus on my schedule, I'd have that thing highlighted, circled. That's a scary day to walk into the ring with DeMarcus Kane, and I'm sure AK knows that. But that's if you guys are watching now, and normally I wouldn't advocate for these other guys with matches going on. I like to self promote myself and the business itself. But man, buy a ticket, come watch that match, because if you want to see two guys beat the snot out of each other, it's going to be those two guys. it's going to be potentially the match of the year.
And you got to think too, Kingsley still has that Grail, so he could cash it in. He could. I don't know. Like, I'm just seeing the DeMarcus Kane AK matches being like total annihilation, like Mad Max Wasteland. We're gonna walk outside, and it's just gonna be nuclear fallout. Like there was a fallout that took place in West Virginia, right? Fallout 76 or something.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking it's going to be like at the end of that match. But Kingsley still has the Holy Grail. He can cash that in on whoever he wants.
And Austin is he's one to always take advantage of any opportunity he's given, whether you like it or not. So yeah, you might be right. I wouldn't be surprised if Austin sticks his nose in there.
Speaking of liking it or not, and money and power, I kind of see, you're not going to like this, but I know who your opponent is for next show.
Well, I'm glad you know.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Say maybe you got a 1% chance of winning that match because
interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Money and power again. You got the ultimate 1%er CEO Charles Everett Osgood. Like, you guys have tore each other up plenty of times. And again, you mentioned, I don't know if Kid's going to be with you or what, but it's at least going to be a 3-on-1.
Right. Yeah. I imagine Kid will be with me. She's a kid, literally. It's in the name. She's still in high school. She's got a lot going on. She's getting ready to start at the training center. So there's a lot of irons in the coals right now, but I would be willing to bet as long as she's available, she's going to be there with me. You mentioned CEO and I have beat each other up probably almost as much as anybody else I've been in the ring with. One of my first matches was with CEO when the WDWA first came around. To say I'm worried about it, I'm not. I'm more worried about everyone else getting involved. I mean, I've been in plenty of one-on-one fights in my life. CEO's no joke. He's a huge dude. He's very strong. He's very capable. But this will be a good test for my knee to see how my knee's doing. Right now it's at about 95%. So that's good enough for me to get in there with him. But I had a feeling this was coming. If I was going to guess, he would have been my top 3. But it's a good place to start. Maybe Justin just needs a front row seat to see what I'm still capable of. And to know that, if I got to go through all of his guys, I will, just to get to him. Done it before, I'll do it again.
I was going to say, you've definitely done it before, and maybe this time, who knows? Like we've talked about, whatever's going on with money and power, whatever's happening behind the scenes, like we don't know. They don't seem to be on the same page. Everybody's seen it, but JTR got choked out while his guys stood there and watched him.
Right.
So that, maybe nothing's going to happen. maybe he's going to cost CEO another match, which he's done a couple times, in the last few shows as well. I mean,
right. I hope that doesn't happen. If Justin, you're listening, I know you are, and I'll make sure this is easy for you to understand. Just stay out of it, man. Let CEO and I handle it. CEO's been doing this longer than I have. I've been in this almost 12 and a half years now. CEO's been doing it longer than I have. Let us handle it. And if you don't like what happens during the match, we can talk afterwards. But I mean, I know that's not going to happen. I mean, that's an unrealistic expectation. But something Justin's missing is a leadership quality. Yes, he has the money. He has this faction. He's not a leader. He's a bankroll for these guys. And these young guys, a.k.a. Cash, Jason Curtis, minus CEO, CEO saw this as an opportunity to make some money. That's what he does. I get it. He wrestles, he makes money. Those are his 2 favorite things in the world. These other guys are young. They saw money and they said, yeah, I'd love to beat people up. I'll take some cash for it. I would have done the same thing 12 and a half years ago. So with Justin, it's a leadership problem. These guys are falling apart because he can't keep that team together. That's all there is to it.
So what about if you had the opportunity, if I was able to call JTR up right now, be like, hey, JTR, throw some money over towards Dad, and he'll come in there. He'll lead these boys for you. And we'll see where money and power goes from that point. Would you be interested in something like that?
It's not about the money. There's something in this business, and John, I've known you for a long time. Donnie, I know you and I have just gotten to know each other the last couple of years. I trained with the Elite Pro Wrestling Alliance. You mentioned Leslie Leatherman there a little bit ago. Was one of my trainers when I first started. One thing we were taught was integrity, man. It's integrity, and it's how you carry yourself. It's how you carry yourself in the business. And money has never been a driving force for why I do what I do. It's nice. I got bills too. I like to, to cushion my pocket a little bit, but it has nothing to do with the opportunity to lead somebody. If I wanted to lead somebody, I would just do it. I would find my own people. Money would not be involved. It would be me passing on my knowledge, me passing on whatever skill I can help them develop, and we can go from there. I came into this business with my brother, with Unc. We started the business together 12 and a half years ago. He retired in December. I'll be honest, it hasn't felt the same without him gone, but he's old, man. He's older than I am. So he's got some life stuff he's taking care of. So shout out, Unc. I know you're listening. But we both saw things the same way, that the money was just not important. It was the integrity, the way we carried ourselves. And our legacy is important. I'm not going to tarnish my legacy by taking money. I'm just not going to do it.
And you asked him about that, but at the same time, you got to remember, he actually, before he got Unc to come over, he offered Dad the money then, and
True.
he asked him to come then, and he turned him down. So, I mean, I can understand. I can believe that he would turn that money down again. I really would.
Yeah, Unc and I, now I'm not going to speak for Unc. I mean, eventually, if he wants to talk about it, he can. He had some life stuff going on over the last year, and I'm sure that money was able to help out with that. We had many car rides after those opportunities came up. Said, hey, we've got this money in front of us. We might as well take it. We're not getting any younger. Maybe this is a nice way to go out with some cash in our pocket. And many, many times we both just agreed it just was dumb. It was a dumb idea because we kind of saw this coming. When you're in the business long enough, and you guys know, growing up watching the product on TV, this happens all the time. I don't care how good the faction is. Something happens every single time to break that faction up. Very few factions make it very long, and it's because of usually greed. Greed gets in the way. So as far as I'm concerned, the money means nothing to me anymore. I'm comfortable with, as he would say, being an old man. I've got my, my bills are paid. I'm happy. But no amount of money, Justin, you can save it. Don't even bring your briefcase, man. It'll go south for you.
Yeah, and I look forwards to your upcoming match, because I know it's going to be a good match. It's going to be quite interesting to see how things go, because there are so many things that you got to keep in the back of your mind with this match, because you got the whole thing of them not having JTR's back. That's how's that going to play into things? You've got this mystery man that we don't know who he's after. Is he after all of Money and Power? Is he just after Bane? Is he after JTR? Because JTR in his own house had that mask just appear at his house. Who is he after? So, he could come out during your match. You don't know, because you don't know who he's after. There's just so many things that could play into this, and that has to affect your mindset somewhat. And how does it affect it?
Yeah, first of all, whoever you are, I don't want any parts of you. If anything, I'm here to help. So if you want me to soften somebody up for you, shoot me a message. I'll take care of it. Just no masks in my house, please. I don't know, man. I don't feel bad for Justin. He's done this to himself. So whoever this is somebody he's pissed off over the years. And man, I just don't. I don't know if I don't think I've ever made anybody that mad. And if I have, I'm sorry. And if it happens to be this person, I'm very sorry as well. But, I agree with you. There's a lot of working parts in this match coming up. I got CEO. That's enough to worry about. He's bigger than I am. He's taller than I am. He's been doing this longer than I have. And that's where the difference between maybe CEO and I lies, is I still have a little bit of youth left. But, I've got to worry about CEO. I've got to worry about the rest of Money and Power. Got to worry about whoever this person is with the gimmicks coming after everybody. And like I said, my knee's still not great. My doctor just cleared me 3 days before the Rumble I was in. So my surgeon was like, hey, everything's as healed as it's going to heal. Do whatever you want. So I know that's still not, I'm still not 100%. So I have to worry about that. So now not only do I have to change my game plan to watch my own back, but now I have to worry about my own body failing me. So there's a lot of things I have to worry about. And, now knowing who I'm facing here in just a short week and a half, I've got a lot of game planning to do. I might give Unc a call and see if he's got any pointers for me, because he seems to, when it comes to dealing with some injuries. I mean, for most people don't know, he dealt with a lot of health issues towards the end of his career. A lot of it physical, a lot of it, just laboring injuries from being in the business for so long. I count myself lucky to be doing this 12 and a half years, and I like to do it, maybe another 12 and a half, who knows, whatever my body allows me to do. So every match I now have a clock ticking that, this could be it. At any point in time, that knee completely goes out, and I know I'll never be the same. I'm not, young and able to function anymore. So I've got all that wrapped around my head, John. That's a great question. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I do know that my head will be on a swivel. I will be checking every corner. I might even check under the ring, John. If I see your belt, I'll slide it out to you. But
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, but no, I don't. I mean, I know what I signed up for. This isn't the first time I've had people coming after me. I honestly, I take it as a compliment. They obviously, I was a target for a reason, and it's just because he was jealous. I don't know. That's a great question to ask Justin. I don't think you ever get a straight answer from him. But I'll keep leading from the front. How's that sound?
Yeah, and to still be a target after this amount of time too. I mean,
Yeah.
and all the history that's went on, it's insane. And knowing, like we've talked about, the mystery guy, the guy, he's got a taser, he's got a machete, he's got a mask, he's big and scary. He may be as big as AK, he may be as big as DeMarcus. From where I was sitting, he looked like he was huge, and I wasn't getting any closer to him. I was ready to get out the door. Like I said, if he took 2 more steps, I was gone. My car was right there. The doors were open, and there wasn't anything that was keeping me in that seat. But not knowing who he's going after again, but knowing you're going to have probably JTR there, you're going to have Jason Curtis there, you're having to watch out for that knee. CEO knows you got to watch out for that knee, and CEO's picked up some submissions. He, went before being cost the last couple matches, by JTR, Money and Power, and some issues, some little snafus. He had started using different submissions. So is that something you're worried about going into that he's just going to target that knee, and JTR is going to get to him with that money, and he's just going to try to take you out once and for all, like he's tried to do for the last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he? I mean, it's my knee has been no secret. My knee has been a problem for years. I had a bad injury, and I was training. I was just training with a bunch of younger kids years ago. It just didn't feel right, and I just threw a brace on it and just pushed through, because that's what we do. And eventually it just gave out. I mean, it's just a matter of time. To give a little, I've never really talked about it openly, but I tore just about everything in that knee, every ligament, every muscle, every tendon. Nothing was completely torn. So it all just healed on its own. So I dodged a bullet. So, I mean, yes, I know talking about that makes that a target. It's not a secret. It has not been a secret for a long time. Right. Everybody knows my knee's a problem. So, if I was going to send a message to anybody, it's going to be to CEO. CEO, let's handle this like men. Both of you and I are under a contract to fight when we're told to fight. If you want to bring those guys out with you, go ahead. I don't know what you're going to get out of that. But if you want a fair fight with me, let's you and I just go. Kid can sit at a merch table, or she can stay home. It doesn't matter to me. You and I can go one-on-one without those guys if that's what you want. If you want to bring those guys out, that's fine too. For just I'll kind of shoot a little bit. Prior job I had, I used to work in a maximum security prison. I was a correctional officer for almost 9 years. Being in a room with a bunch of people who hate you is not something I am, it's not something I'm afraid of, or something I would be surprised by. So these guys don't scare me. If anything, they're just a challenge. They're a roadblock. And that's the way I've looked at my entire career. So, CEO, I'm not surprised that's what we got. We had, we got a little bit of time in the Rumble together. We each got our shots in, and I feel like there's more there for CEO and I to deal with. I think it's a good starting point to get, like I said, get back on the road with Justin. I mean, that's my goal right now. That's my goal right now. I don't have a tag team partner. I love tag team wrestling. I'd love to go after those misused belts or whatever they're calling them now.
Misused World Tag Team Championship.
As much as I would love to say, hey, kid, let's go tag together, she's not ready for it yet. But, right now, Justin is the goal. Justin is the goal. And if I have to go through CEO to get to him, so be it.
Well, and one thing that you have in your advantage, and yes, I don't just say this on screen, I have said it to his face. Since CEO has joined Money and Power, that 1%er that he uses as his moniker, I have figured out that he is the 1%er because he only wins 1% of his matches since joining Money and Power.
Yeah, the odds are good. You could have said the same thing about me a couple years ago too, John. So I'm not going to get into that. Listen, wrestling is really, really difficult. The older I've gotten, the harder it's been to win matches. A couple of years ago, I did whatever it took to win. So anytime I see these other guys like misused, man, you can say whatever you want about misused. Those guys won it. They're the best tag team in the area. I don't like how they go about it, but you're talking about them, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure.
They have the tag team titles, don't they? I mean, do something about it if you don't like it. That's the way I've been taught my whole life. If you don't like what somebody's doing, do something about it. So that's the way I'm going to look at this upcoming match. This at the end of the month. CEO's in my way. I'm going to remove him.
And while we got you here, we're talking about your upcoming match. You want to talk about the other few matches with us while we got you here? Because, I sent out a couple fan requests, but nobody's answered them that I've sent to. So if you want to chat the other matches up with us, while you're here.
I will, but if Donnie picks CEO to beat me, I'm logging off.
I've known CEO for probably like 20 years now and everything.
Right. Me too, man.
And then again, like we've talked about, I don't know what's going on with him and Money and Power. I don't know that he's going to have everybody out there or anybody out there. He may send them all to the back. We don't know. Something's going on there.
Listen, I watch Elevation every week, or every week you're on. Maybe not every week, so it's like every other week. And I don't think anybody's ever gotten every match right. And it's because this business is a coin flip. I could step in there with a guy like Ty Awesome and probably not have much of a chance because Ty is extremely proficient. But there's always a chance I could catch Ty off, So I'm down to stick around, John. I love talking wrestling.
No, there has not so far. Well, actually, I've only tracked the matches 2 shows, but there has not been a time so far that anybody's gotten them right. But the other week, I think I missed 2 the other week. And the last show we had, both Gavin and Susie went 4-4, and I went 7-1. So I was close. So and both times,
you know, with me.
Both times I've come out. I came out just a little ahead of Steve when he was picking. I think I picked one more right than he did. And last time, like I say, I went 7-1. They went 4-4. And just anything Gavin says, make sure you go against anything he says. Obviously,
totally the opposite.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you could put the All Atlantic Championship on the line, so whoever picks the right, the most right out of this next show wins the belt. But you don't have the belt. My bad.
Hey, let me ask you a question real quick, John. I'm going to turn the tables on you. I heard you mention that at Berkeley Mania we've got this Rumble match where there's a 6-foot trophy. How bad do you want to be in that? Hey, I'll vouch for you. I'll call Gavin tomorrow after his anniversary celebration's over, and I'll vouch for you. I'll get you in that ring, and I'll make sure that I hold Sam Adams down until you show up into that ring, if that's what you want.
That would be fun. But I think I got to go through a little training or something before I do that. I don't think I'm quite in the shape for it. If I was, believe me, I'd jump right in there. But
hey, we have a special guest.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
how you doing?
Good. I know. I saw. He texted me.
Yeah. All right, so we're ready to go over the.
Yeah.
We could do this. We could do 4 people. We could have kid join in on the matches.
Help with what?
They're going to go over the next card and they want us to help.
Yeah, we got 4 matches so far. I think we were told we were going to have 5, but
yeah. So far, the 4 matches we have Party McFly versus the Steel Hammer. Now, personally, I don't know much about the Steel Hammer. I think, Donnie, you know more about him than I do.
So Steel Hammer trained under Big Ace Montana. We just saw Ace, he had his the CCW Women's Champ, Keela Capri, and everybody came up. Steel Hammer, I think, is actually holds the CCW Heavyweight Championship down there in Richmond right now for Ace's company. Big kid, I think he's been training for a year or more. He's got a few matches under his belt. Obviously, Ace has given him the opportunity to put a belt on. So that should say something about him. Looks just like pure power. I don't know anything really about his speed. And we know with Party McFly, you got a lot of speed. You got a lot of, Party can do everything. He can make you look foolish a lot of the times if he wants to. So this is kind of a tough one. But yeah, Steel Hammer, the big guy, power, champion. But Party McFly's been a champion a few times as well. At least in the tag team division. So that's a hard one. Who do you think's going to take that one? Steel Hammer or Party McFly?
Party has a lot of. He's tricky. He has tricks up his sleeve. You never know what to expect with him. So this one's a little tricky. I don't know a lot about Steel Hammer either, but I'm gonna call Steel Hammer. I think I'm going to call Steel Hammer on this one.
I'm going to agree with Kid. I think Party's in a weird spot in his career where he's finally figured out who he is. He knows what he's capable of. I ran into the same problem at about 3-4 years in where I was trying to do too much, where I would get myself into a position where I was like, I'm going to show off a little bit now because I got the upper hand. So Party, if you're watching, just go to work if you want a shot to beat this guy. But, man, he looks like he's huge. I'm going with Steel Hammer. That's a great name, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you all and go with Steel Hammer. Again, I've known Ace for a long time, too. And this is champion down there in CCW. If, Ace thinks enough about you to put you in those matches, then I think, I got to go with Steel Hammer on that one.
Oh, and actually, thank you, Jackson. I'd forgotten about that. In the Battle Royal at WDWA Head Games, Party eliminated Steel Hammer, and then Hammer attacked Party after they were both eliminated from the Rumble. So that makes a lot of sense now.
Man, Jackson's a little historian, man.
Right?
I like that. He knows his stuff.
So, but I said I don't know a lot about Steel Hammer, and this one's going to be actually hard to call though, because now that Jackson pointed that out, I had forgotten about that, and the guys that Ace, not just the guys, the people that Ace Montana brings in, have had a lot of success here at WDWA. They really have. And so that makes it hard because Party also has had a lot of success at WDWA. And Party can get the crowd into it. Party, you know, you just got to watch him because he's so quick. And I'm gonna have to go with Party here. I guess I'm going on the island tonight. I'll go with Party.
All right, so we got 3 votes for the Stillhammer, 1 for Party. Next match, we have our women's champion, Temptations Tiffany Grady, against Pegasa. Now, I don't know a lot about Pegasa. I was trying to do some homework on her once this got announced earlier. Was able to find some of her matches, and I haven't really been able to dig too deep into it. But we know what Tiffany Grady's went through for the better part of a year trying to chase that title down. And now that she's finally got it in her grasp, we saw the way she treated. She had to go through Amara Voigt and the Villainous at the same time in that 3-way, man. We saw what she did to both of them. I don't see anybody taking that title from Grady right now.
Tiffany's definitely earned that title, and I can vouch for that.
You were just in a Rumble with her,
yeah.
know, right?
Yeah, she's Tiffany's scary, but I respect her, and I think she's able to hold on to that title. I think she will.
And, I'm going to have to agree with that. Tiff, she already showed she'd do anything that she needed to win that title, but she did whatever she had to get back to that title. And so I cannot see her letting that title go anytime soon. And it's going to take one hell of a fight to get that title away from her. So I'm going to have to go with Tiffany on that.
All right. Unanimous. Almost. But we still got to.
I don't know. I'm trying to channel my inner Amara Void. I'm very close with Amara. I know Amara wants that title back, obviously.
I mean, who wouldn't?
I think I'll take Tiffany for this in this moment because of the veteran qualities that she has. But in reality, if Amara wants that title back, I think she'd
get it.
If that was who she was facing, I would be picking Amara all day long. But unfortunately, I think I'm just going to go with Tiffany for now because I want to see Amara get that belt back directly from Tiffany. Sorry, we're getting attacked by a cat.
Yeah, and like you say, if it was Amara she was facing, this could be a whole different ball game. But just for this one, I got to be Tiffany. And are you the same there, Donnie?
Yeah, Tiffany all around. So,
all right. So Tiff gets the clean sweep on that. It looks like it'll be Tiffy time on that one. Yeah. So then the next match we'll talk about is that tag team match. For the tag team championships, Misused versus Clay and Zakar.
That's gonna be a tough decision.
Yeah.
Is I have respect for both of them. Clay, I mean, he is also terrifying, but he has the entire crowd on his side. I mean, from what I've experienced with Clay, even when he's not in the ring or even seen, I still hear chants for Clay. So he's very respected among people. Same with Zakar. He has showed the fans multiple times that he wants it, and I think he deserves it. But same with Misused. They have fought for their title, and I honestly think they could keep it.
I like that answer.
You went with the veteran tag team, huh? I think she's on to something there. I think Clay and Zakar separately are dangerous, very dangerous wrestlers. I know they haven't spent a lot of time on the same page together like Misused has. So if there's any opportunity for somebody to have an upper hand here, it would obviously be Misused. but you also have a loose cannon and Clay Jacobs who will do anything in his power to inflict pain on other people. And I think Zakar has that streak in him as well. We've seen that with, I remember being on commentary when he wrestled Beastman and was scared to death for Zakar. Zakar held his own. I'm going to go with Clay and Zakar just because I know Clay very well, and I'm starting to get to know Zakar a little better over the years. I think they might be able to catch him off guard. Clay also, both of them actually have a little bit of a bone to chew there with Misused. So they've had some time to work together. They've known about this match for a while, so I think they've got an opportunity to take him down.
That's a tough one. Obviously, it's singles competition. Zakar is the man. Clay is the man. He can inflict tons of pain on you. He can take everything you can throw at him and keep coming. Another one of the monsters out there that we have in WDWA. But if you watch the end of the Frontline commercial that we showed earlier, you've got that last scene in there where Clay's down on all fours and him and Zakar just stare at each other in the face. And I've seen that in some of their tag matches. They trust each other, but there's still a little bit of healthy distrust on there as well. So it's like, yeah, I still remember what you did. I know what you did last summer. Most of the winter before that. But I can't go against my boys Misused. I got to go with Misused. They could be fighting anybody. I still got to go with Misused. It's their world. They want to take you out of it. They'll take you out of it. It's now their Misused World Tag Team Championships, and I love it. So, yeah, Misused.
All right. Well, I've said before, and I've said it before in this program. I said it on commentary, and I've even said it already tonight. Misused does not care about wins. They don't care about losses. They really don't. I mean, I said that earlier. Somebody said, no, they do. They care about winning. No, I don't think they do, because they will resort to whatever they have to punish you for being in their world. And so if it gets them disqualified, they don't care. They just want to punish you. And because of that, I'm actually going to go with Clay and Zakar winning, but not walking out with the titles.
Ooh,
because I think it's going to be a disqualification. I really do. I don't see Misused winning clean, and I think it'll be disqualification in favor of Zakar and Clay. So I'll go with Clay and Zakar on that.
I could see that happening.
I could see that, but not taking the titles. That's a pretty smart bet. Pretty smart bet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to find referees that Misused haven't put in their place at least once or twice.
that is
Danica.
true, or at least knocked out.
Yeah, right. I don't know. It's been a while. I don't remember them really getting their hands on Joe too well. Maybe that's next.
Joe's slippery.
Yeah, he's so small.
Yeah. He'll sneak out of there before anything bad happens. He's got a pretty good radar for that kind of stuff.
Well, I don't know. I've seen Joe take licks many a times. I've seen Joe get tased. I mean, it's.
What?
I'm pretty sure I didn't see Joe when that masked man came out, but I'm pretty sure that Joe was probably hiding when he heard the clack of the taser.
Would not surprise me.
I mean, I would too.
He was probably in the back of Donnie's car waiting for Donnie to run out and drive him away.
Yeah, I was ready for that too. It's like 2 more steps, I'm gone.
But so the last match we've kind of already discussed tonight.
Yep.
So last match we'll get the picks on here because we've only had these 4 matches released so far.
Who you picking?
Oh,
D.A.D versus CEO.
Such a hard decision. Oh my goodness.
We'll let you go first. Pressure's on.
Well, you two have residing history with each other. You have a reason to hate him. I wouldn't really say he has a reason to hate you because he's the one that betrayed you.
I've tried to help him so many times, but he's a grown man. He makes his own decision. Yeah,
he doesn't want it. He's so in his head about stuff. It's his way or no way. Same with you.
That's correct. I'll take that criticism.
Your rules are set.
It's true.
And if they don't follow your rules, then.
So who you picking?
You.
Oh, she's picking me.
I mean, obviously.
I'm picking me. You don't even have to.
I would have made a real bad week for her, I think, if she would have picked CEO.
Yeah, we got back to school shopping coming up, and she would have had like a My Little Pony backpack or something embarrassing.
Nice.
You wouldn't even hate that.
I was going to say, if she picked CEO, there might not be any allowance this week,
Yeah.
I guess the real question is, are you going to be there?
I don't know. Am I?
Do you want to?
We'll see.
I don't know. I have to wait and see, I guess.
All right, John, who you got on this one?
In this one, you've got, like I say, you've got so many questions that are just floating around that we don't have answers to, that could just be distractions, but it could be distractions both ways because, you've got the whole Jason Curtis CEO thing. So if CEO gets in trouble, is JTR going to help him?
They stood there and watched him get choked out 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. So after that happened, I don't know that JTR is going to be so willing just to jump up and help. And, so that could be a distraction to CEO himself. And,
John, let me help you make your decision. If those guys get involved, I will oblige them. So if they decide to be a distraction, I will make sure it is a distraction for everyone. My focus isn't going to turn away from CEO. So I don't know. This doesn't seem fair with being able to talk to me about your pick. But anyway, you make whatever decision you want. I'll still love you regardless. But if anybody else wants to get involved, bring it, man.
Well,
I'll have Sweet Pea.
That's true.
Overall, it's like I say, CEO is the 1%er because he only wins 1% of his matches. And didn't he have a win not too long ago?
Yeah.
So there's his 1%. So I'll have to go with Dad on this one. So Donnie?
Again, tough. Now I'm put on the spot. Wow. Tough decision. Like I said, I've known CEO for a long time.
Are you causing CEO. Dad to log off, or?
I don't know yet. I'm justifying my answer before I answer, I guess, is what I'm doing.
Well, listen, if you pick the wrong person, it won't be the first time you've been wrong. So I won't hold you accountable too much. I'll bring it up later.
First time.
Big blackmail.
I think it would be the first time I was wrong.
She'll help you, Dad.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
We know.
But then we've talked about all the distractions going on with money and power. They've not been on the same page. Like, you watched your boss get strangled by Jordan Evans in the middle of the ring, and you did nothing to help him. JTR's cost CEO a couple matches trying to interfere, and he interferes and hits CEO instead. Jason, I wouldn't see Jason trying to jump in, because then if Jason gets taken out, you still got DeMarcus Kane that's after JTR. You still got whatever that thing is that's after whoever it's after, AK JTR. So I don't think he's going to want to throw Justin out there either. And then one-on-one, it could end up being, if it's one-on-one, that's going to be a hell of a match. They're going to beat the hell out of each other. I already know that. I think with everything going on, I'm going to actually have to, as much as I hate to say it, I'm going to have to go with Dad on this one.
Oh, wow. Clean sweep for Dad.
I was about to get a little upset.
That's the first time I think Donnie's ever picked me to win anything.
It absolutely is.
He's
pretty positive.
I agree with both of you guys. It's a clean flip. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I know what I'm capable of. So
we kind of know what CEO is capable of.
I'm just my goal is going to be make sure all 4 of us get a win in the win column here, because all these other matches could have gone either way too.
Yeah.
So now I'm responsible. It's kind of like betting on myself.
This entire card is like it could go either way.
It's been like that for a while now.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it's been some absolute great action, and not only has the action been great in the ring, it has been a great night. It's been great having you here tonight. And before we let you go, if CEO is watching, and I'm sure, if he's not watching now, he'll probably go back and watch just to see what you said. Do you have any words for CEO before we let you go tonight?
Man, I'll say the same thing I told to him a year ago. Be careful who you trust. I'm not saying to trust me. By no means should you trust me going into this match, because I have a one-track mind, which is to pin you or to make you submit or to make you quit. There's one thing that you should know, though, is that no matter what happens with Justin going forward, he does not have your best interest in mind. He has his best interest in mind. So you may have thought you partnered up with him to, I don't know, become a business partner, but unfortunately you become a pawn in his game. And the sooner you realize that, the better it's going to be for you in the rest of your career. So I look forward to beating you up. I'm sure you look forward to beating me up. Let's do it like men, one-on-one, meet in the middle of the ring. Forget about all this outside noise the best we can. But again, like I said, if there's outside noise, I'm going to handle it. Minus that thing with the cattle prod. I don't want any parts of that. I might run to your car, Donnie.
Donnie, I think you're going to have a full car by the time it's all said and done. You're going to have Joe, you're going to have Dad, and of course you got to be driving, and you're going to have a full car.
He's muted.
Yeah, you're muted, Donnie.
Best thing that's happened to us.
There we go.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, we'll have a full carload just, getting down the road. Hopefully he's, he's got the machete, so hopefully he's like Jason Voorhees and walks everywhere. He's not one of these guys that's going to run after us, because I don't know if somebody's getting tripped up if that happens. Joe's smaller, though, so he's got those little legs. I don't think he can outrun Dad or I.
We don't have to be the fastest. We just have to be faster than the slowest person. So I think we
Sorry, Joe.
Really wise.
Yeah. Hey, real quick before I head out too, I heard you guys talking about Shane and Gavin earlier. When I first started in this business, Shane was one of the first guys to kind of take me under his wing. And, at the time he was still pretty young, but he's been a pro since the day I met him. And Gavin, his son, is an exceptional kid. So Gavin, from both of us, from my whole family, we love you, buddy. We wish you the best in your deployment and boot camp that you're heading off to. Sorry I didn't get to see it. It was actually my anniversary at the last show, so my wife and I were out of town. Otherwise, I would have been there just to give him some love. So hopefully you hear this, Gavin and Shane. I know Shane's probably going through it, him and his wife. Sending their son away to boot camp. It cannot, it's got to be a mixed bag of feelings. You're excited for your son to do something with his life, and but you're also scared of what could happen while he's there. But if it was my son, if Gavin was my son, I would not doubt that he's going to go do great things. And then when he gets back, when he gets home and he steps back into this business, I feel sorry for anybody in his way, because that kid has a extremely bright future.
He's a powerhouse too.
I don't know if I'll still be involved in the business then, but if I retire before you come back, Gavin, I'll unretire for one match with you. So best of luck to you, buddy, and we love you guys.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure to get to talk to you again. I got to talk to you once before on Wrestle Talk, and then again here tonight, and it's always a pleasure. And thank you for the surprise visit, kid. We always love getting to talk with you. And hey, you got any last words before we let you go?
Expect the unexpected.
Wow. Okay.
Man, I tell you what, if there's one thing she's learned from me, it's just to keep her mouth shut and go to work. This kid she's hit the ground running. You know, without Justin, her career probably doesn't take off like it has. Without the great fans like Susie. Susie loves kids. She loves you more than
I love her.
she probably loves just about anybody else. But this kid, you know, the future of the women's business, you know, she just got to be on the all women show. And when she says expect the unexpected, I worry too, because it's like, man, what is this kid going to try to go do? Because if she's as dumb as I am when it comes to just throwing your body around and doing whatever it takes,
watch her take out all the money and power, right?
Gabby threw me at Liberty. That was probably the scariest part of my career. Like,
Was that scarier than when you jumped off the top and took out all the
that
money
wasn't
and
scary at
power?
all. I was fine with that.
I think I was more scared than she was.
I was excited. It was fun. That was really fun. He pointed at me and was like, "Hey, you go up." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go." But like when I am wrestling, I clear my head completely. There's no thoughts in my head besides what I am doing in that moment. So what happens to me during that match, I don't care, because my one-track mind is winning and putting people in the right place.
Dude, this is a scary house to live in, because she gets that from me and she gets her attitude from her mother. Yeah. Wish me luck, guys.
Maybe Tip's next opponent.
So
She'd do it. I don't know how well it'd go for her.
I'd be a little scared about it now. Like in my career standing now, going against Tiffany, I don't think I'd be able to do it. I'm still very new in the company. I'm still very new to wrestling. Give me a few years and I'm coming for you, Tiffany.
You heard it, Tiffany. She's heading to the training center here soon, so we're going to be down there a couple times a week, training with all the trainees down there. I'm sure I'll jump in and help when needed, but calling out Tiffany at 16 years old, that's pretty awesome.
Well,
I don't know about you guys, but I was just watching it on TV at 16 years old. That was couldn't cut a promo at 16 years old about a heavyweight championship, a women's championship title match. But
that is my dream, to have that belt.
That's why we do it.
That's why we do it.
And you mentioned the training center, you know, as you say, you know, World Domination Wrestling, they have their own training center now, you know, so if you ever want to be a professional wrestler, a manager, you know, whatever you want to be, they can teach you how to do it. You know, no experience necessary. You know, the number's right there. Give them a call. They'll get you set up, and they'll teach you the right way to do things, and they'll get you in there. So, you know, be sure to give them a call and get set up and get in there. You never know who you might run into there, you know.
Could be a future tag team partner.
So that's where I met my tag team partner. My brother and I showed up the same day and said, "Hey, we should just be a tag team." So we did it from day one. So
and when you go to the training center and you learn the right way to do things, you never know where you could end up. And being that it is Berkeley Mania season, you know, you've got the Bruiser who's in the WDWA Hall of Fame. You got Doug Rafferty, you know, WDWA Hall of Fame last year, and we don't know who is going in yet for this year, but we know Berkeley Mania coming up. We know somebody is going to be announced soon. Gavin just has not made that announcement yet, and I can't imagine who is going to get the honors to go in there. There are so many deserving people. I just can't imagine.
Yeah, that list's a mile long. You know, when you finally make it into a Hall of Fame like that, that's not why we do this in the business. But when there's a list that long, and a guy like Bruiser, man, only met Bruiser a couple times, and nobody was better to the business than Bruiser was, and the business was good to Bruiser, and we lost him way too soon. And you got a guy like Doug who spent his whole life as a referee, as a manager. Whether you loved him or hated him, he's one of the best to ever do it. So to catapult yourself to the top of that list, you've got to be pretty special. So I can't wait to see who it is. Maybe it's Unk.
It's me.
Hey.
He's pretty special. Fan wise and us wise.
No, it's not gonna be on.
No, he's not Hall of Fame material.
There's a giant list of people. There's so many people. It's really hard to.
Yeah, if we started guessing now, man, we'd be here for an hour.
100%.
For sure.
And
Maybe
if it was
Tiffany.
If it was Unk that would go in, my act handle might be worth a little more money.
Maybe.
Because after all, it is autographed by both you and Unk after you used it on him at that match.
I was so scared watching that.
I don't remember much about that match other than watching it back. That was you. If there was ever a match of my, what's that, Donnie?
I was going to say, I remember Unk had one fan evidently in the whole crowd because some kid kept smacking you in the face with a pie pan every time you'd go over there.
That was his son.
Wow. Okay. Well, that explains why I had one fan.
Yeah. He probably would have punished him had he not been rooting for his dad. But yeah, about halfway through that match, it got real foggy for me, and I'm sure Unc would tell you the same thing. But
concussion.
Probably my favorite match I've ever had in my career. Just so happened to be with him. So, but yeah, thanks you guys for having us on. We love talking wrestling. More importantly, we love talking about us wrestling. So,
I mean, obviously.
Well, thank you guys for being here. And, as always, in typical WDWA style, with the last remarks from Kid, expect the unexpected. We are left with more questions than answers once again. Typical WDWA style.
Great point, Kid.
But, thank you guys. We really appreciate it. And, we'll see you there at the next matches.
Yep. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. Hopefully we at least answered some questions for you.
And
we'll see you in a couple weeks.
You will.
All right. Have a good night.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
See you.
Wow, Donnie, another great night here. And, good interview with Dad and clean sweep for, picking Dad there. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens with the 4 matches that we have announced.
Didn't we all go for Stillhammer as
well? No, I went for Party on that one, but we all picked Tiffany. So there's 2 of the 4 that we all picked the same. So, but like I say, that's the second time I've gotten to interview Dad because I got to talk to him on Wrestle Talk. Be sure to tune in to Wrestle Talk every other Tuesday night. Wrestle Talk is on the Tuesday nights that we do not have Elevation. So tune in.
On Wrestle Talk this next time? I go way back to Wrestle Talk too.
Well, host-wise, it should be myself and Gabe. And I can't announce the actual guest yet, as much as I would love to. We've got a couple irons in the fire, and so I can't officially announce the guest yet, unfortunately. But be sure to tune in, and I'm going to run a quick thing here for you for Wrestle Talk. So, we have this platform that we're using is actually provided to us by Wrestle Talk, and the great partnership that's been formed between WDWA and Wrestle Talk podcast has just been phenomenal. And, we're very happy with this partnership. So So, a lot of great guests on Wrestle Talk throughout the years. We've had some people before they made it big. We've had some great names. We've had Al Snow on there. We've had Cowboy Bob Orton on there. We actually Joe, I would have loved to have been on this one. Uh, Joe got to talk to why did his name just go out of my head just as I was about to say it? But um, anyway, Joe got to talk to former AEW champion. We've had former WWE champions on there. And then as you saw, we've had plenty of great superstars from WDWA on there. So you definitely want to tune in. You never know who you're going to see. And if you happen to miss an episode or you don't know where to find us, the QR code there on the screen, give that a scan, and that will link you to all of our social media, and you'll be able to find us there. It'll take you to our Facebook, to our YouTube, our Twitch, our Apple Podcasts, take you to all of them so that you can find us. So, be sure to check us out there and check out the FWWC. I'm a part of it. Susie's a part of it. We actually have a few WDWA. Boy, I'm having trouble talking here towards the end. Trainees that have joined now, which is great because it is a great opportunity if you're trying to get in the wrestling business to learn how to to hone your craft promoing. So it'll help you there. And you never know who you might see when you start going back through some of the older promos and stuff. You might see this guy here in some of them because he's a former member of the FWWC as well.
It wasn't even called that at the time. It was so long ago. But a lot of the same guys were still around, El Monte, CEO, Mel's other CEO. We talked about two of them tonight. I think Luke Justice was still there, Luchador. So a lot of guys.
So
La Familia Worldwide group.
Definitely check them out. Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter. If you win a title belt, it actually gets shipped to you and you get to hold that title belt as long as somebody doesn't steal the thing from you. But I'm gonna get that belt back. Sam, I'm looking for you. I'm gonna get my belt back from you, but
All Atlantic champ.
No. Anyway, it has been a great show. Donnie, thank you for filling in. It's been a privilege as always. I love when I get to sit and talk with you, and you and I have been on commentary several times. I've had a great time with that when I've been filling in for Steve, and it's been a great time here tonight. Thank you very much. And as always, I look forward to the opportunity of working with you. And I'm sure next time, Gavin has something to do, I'm sure you'll be more than happy to fill in. And
yeah, for sure. For sure. It was great. Time flew too. Like I just looked at it, I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, we're over. But oops.
It happens. But so, all right. Thank you to everybody who's been watching. We love the fans, and we wouldn't be here doing what we do without you guys. So thank you. And, if you're watching the replay, thank you for that. Still feel free to drop comments. We will, we'll still see them, and share the program out to others so that they can learn about WDWA and Wrestle Talk podcast themselves and Elevation. And so thank you guys. We will see you next time.